What's going on, everybody? It's your big homie, the armchair operator, and welcome to another video. Now, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoy the content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Become a part of the family. We would love to have you stick around. And if you're coming back to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed today's content. So as you saw by the thumbnail, today we're talking about another bear stopper. We are talking about the venerable Glock 40 chambered in 10mm. Now, this particular gun really needs no introduction. A lot of people kind of prefer the Glock 40 over the Glock 20. And I have been privileged enough to get my hands on a Glock 40 for this review. And speaking of that, I have to give an absolute huge shout out to the team over at the Bunker Gun Shop. My guys, Chris, Frank Bank, the entire Bunker 1 and Bunker 2 team, thank you so much for providing the gun for this review. The Bunker Gun Shop, they have 2 locations serving the greater Philadelphia area, one in Warminster, PA, and one also in Chalfont. So I'm going to put their contact information down in the pinned comment so y'all could go over there and check them out. This firearm is actually a used firearm. And believe it or not, like a lot of people kind of poo-poo used guns, but yo, listen to your big homie. I've been in this space for about good 20 years now. My very first firearm was a used gun. I'll never forget it. It was actually a Smith & Wesson model 645. Think Miami Vice. Old school, right? Purchased that gun used way back in the day. And ever since then, man, I've been hooked on buying used firearms. But we want to get into more about new firearms versus used firearms and why used firearms could actually be a very good choice for a lot of people. But right now, we're going to focus on the Glock 40 today, chambered in that good 10 mic. So essentially, we're going to do this. We're going to do a quick tabletop review, and then we're going to head on over to the range, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of the Glock 40 in action, and then we're going to come right back here and close things out. Okay, so without further ado, let's head on over to the tabletop and dive into this Glock 40. Welcome to the review space, everybody. We have the Glock 40 Gen 4 right here on the tabletop, and essentially what you see right now is basically what you get. But before I do anything, y'all know how I get down. We got to verify clear. So firearm is, well, magazine is empty. That chamber is also empty. This firearm is clear, and we are filming in a safe and controlled environment. There isn't any ammunition anywhere in my review space. Okay, so let's talk about the Glock 40 right here. So as you can see, this is the Gen 4 model. I do not believe that there is a Gen 5 model currently. That being said, this would make this particular gun their largest long barrel firearm currently available. And if it looks very familiar to you, it kind of should. It actually looks a lot like their 17L. As a matter of fact, I have my Glock 17L, and we'll do a size comparison in a little bit. But speaking of the 17L, let's go over, well, speaking of this style of firearm in general, let's go over some of the features. Now we're going to start with the sights. So the sights on these, I guess you will call it these practical, tactical / target shooting models, the sights are slightly different than the standard model. But of course, you got your same polymer white dot front sight in the front, but you also have an adjustable rear sight in the back here. And this sight, I believe, is adjustable for both elevation and windage, and you got the little screws here, and it does come with a tool that you can use to adjust your rear sight as you see fit. Okay, and I guess, of course, it's a Gen 4 model, so you don't have their front slide serrations, but you have the rear slide serrations, which is really, you know, I mean, they're usable, they're good. And this is an MOS model, so you do have your optics cut your optics plate up here. And I believe this differs from the Gen 5 in the fact that the Gen 5s are polymer. This doesn't feel polymer. It feels a lot like the other slide. I could be wrong, but don't quote me on that. And of course, you got this full length 6-inch barrel with this long dust cover on the front. So fun fact about this particular gun, if you want to change the sights, which changing the sights on Glock pistols are extremely easy. You could find the Glock armorer's tool anywhere, or the sight removal tool at most gun shops. You can find online, Amazon, whatever the case may be. Point being, this dust cover is actually removable. You would just take the slide off, you know, do the tape down like you would normally do for a Glock, and basically just slide that sucker right on back. And then that'll get you access to the screw that secures the front sight in place, just in case you didn't know. Moving from there, we have the slide catch, slide release on one side, because of course this is a Gen 4, and of course you have the customary Gen 4 trigger housing pins here, you know what I mean? And then you got your Gen 4 safety. Now this trigger is a bit lighter than your standard Glock Gen 4 trigger. This trigger is coming in, at least on the box according to Glock, around 4.5 pounds. It doesn't feel like a 4.5 pound trigger, even though this firearm is a used firearm. Whoever had it beforehand probably never shot the damn thing, because it honestly feels brand new, and I could tell that when I dry fire it. But I got my trigger gauge here, so let's check that trigger pull weight real fast. Hold on. Hold up. I need to get a better trigger gauge. I know. I can already hear the comments. All right, so we coming in at a little over 6-ish pounds. I don't know if you can see that. If I did that right, let's try it again. I want a digital trigger gauge, one that doesn't spin. At least the hook doesn't spin. It'd make life a little easier. Yeah, this is coming in at 6. I'm not really doing it right because it doesn't feel like a 6-pound trigger pull. Personally, if I had to guess, I would say it's around 5 pounds right now. But like I said, this trigger has not been broken in, and I could tell that this firearm is very gently used, if the person even used it at all. Moving on from there, of course, you got your Gen 4 finger grooves here. You got your Gen 4 texturing on the sides of the grip. You got your Glock, I guess you call this Glock universal rail. Anyway, you got that right here by the dust cover. And of course, that's pretty much it as far as this. One thing I will say too, this recoil spring actually is lighter than my Glock 20 Gen 5, and I suspect that it will also be a bit lighter than the Glock 20 in the Gen 4 as well. And I will talk more about that when I get to the range portion of the review, because that was a bit interesting. Moving right along with the accessories, you got 3 15-round magazines that comes with the firearm, and of course you have your Glock mag loader here. I don't know who used it, but hey, you got it if you want it. And of course, with the Gen 4 model, you have your interchangeable back straps, so you can configure this guy to your liking. And you know, and of course you have your cleaning brush and your cleaning rod right there. All in all, that's basically pretty much it far as this goes. I mean, we could do a quick takedown real quick. Hold on, let me work my magic, because YouTube doesn't like showing things like that for whatever reason. But anyway, here you go. This is the firearm broken down. You know what I mean? Got your metal recoil spring and guide rod, all your Gen 4 goodness. And then you have your Gen 4 Glock frame. You know, pretty standard, pretty much simple, pretty much run of the mill. You know what I mean? But anyway, without further ado, let's do some size comparisons. So here is my Glock 20 Gen 5. Firearm is clear. So you can see the difference between the Gen 4 and the Gen 5. Obviously, the barrel is longer because this is the Glock 20 and this is the Glock 40, but you can see the differences in the slide. And there's actually a different finish between the two. I'm not sure if this is the old school Tennifer finish. It looks like it, but don't quote me on that. But you could tell this is Glock's new school finish. And of course, you got the slide serrations in the front. Pretty much the same, but of course, you got the different. You have one less pin in the trigger section for the Gen 5 versus the Gen 4. Slightly redesigned grip. Ambidextrous slide catch, you get the idea. But the thing I want you to take note of is the rear sight. So these are the standard sights that come on most Glock pistols, the ones that everybody loves to hate, including myself. But as you can see, this is the fixed sight, that's the adjustable rear sight. So I just wanted to point that out in case you wanted a visual reference as to how they look. Let me get them a little closer to the camera so that way you can see them a little bit better. But just to give you an idea of the difference. And last but not least, for the size comparisons, I have here my Glock 17 Gen 5. I call it the Super 17 because it's obnoxiously long barrel. But anyway, firearm is clear. There's no magazine in the gun, and we're good to go. All right, so lengthwise, the two are very comparable. I don't even, like, the camera can't even get it all in the frame. That's how long these jokers are. But okay, so those are the barrels. Obviously, the Glock 40 is on the left because that's the thicker one. But if we move up front, that's basically how they compare with one another. Or as a matter of fact, let's do it this way. Let's sit them down side by side. How about this? So, boom, there you go. That's basically what you're looking at. Same footprint as the 17L for all intents and purposes, except is chambered in 10mm, therefore is a thicker gun versus the 9mm Glock 17L. But you get the idea. And then the Glock 17L standard comes with the exact same sights as the Glock 40 here. But of course, I changed mine to the Trijicon fiber optic sights because these are vastly superior. But anyway, now that we've got the size comparisons out of the way, let's head on over to the range and do the range portion of the review. And then we're going to come on back here and close this thing out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the range portion of the review. We got the Glock 40 Gen 4 chambered in 10mm, the big boy right here. And we are loaded up with 180 grain Freedom Munition full metal jacket rounds. I got 2 magazines loaded up. We got the target right here at 7 yards. So we just going to get a feel for the big fella and let's see what it's working with. Y'all already know that 10mm is a stout cartridge, but your boy is no stranger to recoil. All right, so without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so please pardon the perspiration. I know my forehead's a little shiny and everything. I just got finished running my honey badger with the Thunder Chicken. So, you know, running a suppressed firearm indoors, they build up heat. That review should be dropping soon. But anyway, right now we talking about the Glock 40 and 10mm. Yo, I'm so used to talking about the Glock 40 cal, you know, the Glock 22, Glock 23. Knowing good and darn well we talking about the 10mm version. I gotta keep that in my head. So if I make a 40 and slip throughout the video, I apologize ahead of time. All right, without further ado, let's run some rounds. Whoa. Man, I don't know if these sights need to be drifted or what, but they are off. Maybe my shooting is off. I mean, that was pretty good. The longer slide is very noticeable. You can definitely feel that thing recoiling, but it's not as sharp as you might think, considering you're talking about a 6-inch barrel, and you know what I mean, 6-inch barrel and slide. But so far, so good. I'm gonna run this up against my Glock 20 10mm in a bit, just to kind of compare the felt recoil impulse. But let's load this other mag up and let's go again. All right, I got another couple 15-round magazines loaded up. We're gonna keep the target at the same spot. I don't know, I think it's just my crappy shooting. I don't think the sights are thrown off or anything like that. But anyway, let's throw some more rounds down the range. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why I'm wearing gloves, Glock slides have a bad habit of biting my oversized bear paws. And since I'm not trying to be cleaning up bite wounds on the range right about now, that's the reason why I'm wearing gloves, in case you want to know. I didn't put the back straps on this thing or anything like that, so that's the reason why. All right, here we go. I gotta say, the trigger in this is noticeably different than my Gen 5 Glock 20. I know the difference between the Gen 4 and the Gen 5 trigger, like there's a slight difference between the two, but it kind of reminds me of my 17L. That's the reason why I bring that up. I don't know if they have the same trigger set or not, but they feel similar. All right, let's try a couple double taps. Yeah, that Gen 4 reset, boy, I felt that. Let's check the target. So not too bad once I corrected my crappy support hand for the most part. A couple of them missed the mark entirely, but pretty accurate. You can definitely feel that extra slide mass reciprocating back and forth, which is to be expected. But like I said, it's not an obscene amount of recoil at all. And I personally think that it recoils a little bit less than the standard Glock 20. But we're going to test that out real quick. So let me get the Glock 20 up. Let me put a fresh target up there, and let's run them side by side so you can see the difference for yourselves. All right, y'all, so check it. We got the Glock 20 Gen 5 up here next to the Glock 40 Gen 4. Fresh target up there. It's up there at 7 yards. And right now, I'm just doing basically a recoil and trigger comparison between the two. First off, we're going to start with the OG Gen 4 Glock 40. Then we're going to transition on over to the Gen 5 Glock 20. By the way, these are both the MOS models, just in case I didn't mention that previously. All right, here we go. That's my bad. I hit the magazine release. Hold up. Let me get that magazine and let's run that again. Sorry about that, y'all. That's my bad. My hand hit the magazine. My support hand hit the magazine release and accidentally dropped the mag. So I will say the magazine release on this is a little bit different than that of the Gen 5. Actually, it's a little, I don't know. I think it feels like it's a little wider. Like it doesn't really sit the same as the Gen 5. Oh well. Anyway, let's finish this magazine. Remember, we're just doing a recoil comparison. Damn it, I hit it again. One moment. All right, we're back. Let's see if I can finish this magazine without hitting the magazine release. Well, I'll be damned. I could actually run it without hitting the magazine release. All right, let's run the Glock 20 real quick. All right, now it's time for the Glock 20 Gen 5, by the way. Yeah, the Glock 20 is snappier than the Glock 40. That shorter barrel, yeah, you can feel the recoil. Like, it's not a huge difference, but it's noticeable. We going back to the Glock 40. Yeah, the Glock 40 does kick just a little bit less than the Glock 20. And of course, the Gen 4 trigger does feel a little bit differently than the Gen 5. I should have brought my Glock 21 because that's a Gen 4 and they should have similar triggers. I might do that the next time around just to see how it is. But anyway, let's check the target. So basically a lot of low and left, a lot of support hand issues. And as y'all saw, my stupid self accidentally dropped the magazine on more than one occasion. But that's just more so a grip issue. That's not an issue with the gun. Like I said, I'm not running it with the extended back straps. I usually run my Glocks with the extended back straps because I need that, just that little bit of extra real estate. One, to grip the gun effectively, and two, not to get that slide bite. But either way, this is a good gun. Even though it's a used gun, it's a really good gun. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I don't even think this pistol was shot much, if at all. So I was like, I'm trying to put y'all on game. Used guns, man, that's the way to go. Like, seriously. But anyway, enough talking. Let's get a fresh target up there. Let's put a little bit more rounds down range, and then we're going to head back to the review space and close this joker out. All right, y'all, I got the last couple magazines loaded up, but this time, just for fun, I decided to bring out my M&P 10mm Performance Center and run it alongside the Glock 40. Now, me personally, when it comes to ergonomics and felt recoil and trigger, the M&P 10mm Performance Center is the best striker gun that I personally have ever shot in 10mm. That's just my opinion. I think it's the best. But anyway, let's run both of these. First up, we're gonna run the Glock 40. I got two 10-round mags for each. Side note, my groupings is terrible with this damn Glock 40. Seriously. That's on the shooter, not the gun. All right. Now let's run their M&P. Y'all want to hear something crazy? In a way, it feels a bit snappier. I guess because it has less slide mass, but at the same token, it feels flatter shooting. Odd, ain't it? But anyway, I got one more magazine to put through this M&P. And I think a big part of that is that external safety. Let's check the target. Hey, this is what we're working with. Big hole, a lot of low and left. But if I could put the extra back strap on, I think I would. Plus, I just got to get used to the trigger. But anyway, that's going to conclude the range portion of this review. Let's get back to the review space and close this thing out. And we're back. So, just to sum things up, the Glock 40 chambered in 10mm, it's a different, it feels a little bit smoother versus the Glock 20 and 10mm, in my opinion. The difference in the recoil spring, and well, should I say the difference in between the two recoil springs, with the Glock 40 being lighter than that of the Glock 20, plus you have that extra slide mass of the Glock 40, it just feels a bit softer in hand to shoot. Kind of like going from the Glock 47 to, say, like the Glock 17L. And I don't know if you know, if you remember from that review, I basically said the same thing in that video. The Glock 17L just kind of it feels a little bit softer as far as the recoil impulse, and it makes a bit sense because the gun is more so designed for kind of like a target pistol or competition, something like that. That's why they call it practical, tactical competition, whatever the hell Glock calls it. But you get the idea. The trigger is better than that of the Gen 5. Of course, they have it, I guess you could say, stock plus. It's not their performance trigger, but it's a little bit better than their stock trigger. I don't know why they don't put a damn performance trigger in the gun if you're going to do it, but I mean, I guess Glock has their reasons, whatever the hell they are, I don't know. But it does feel a bit noticeably different, and once the gun is broken in, I'm pretty sure the trigger will feel a bit closer to that 4.5 pound trigger pull, kind of like my 17L does now. But the gun was reliable. I mean, your boy wasn't reliable because I hit the magazine release I don't know how many times, and like I said in the range portion of the review, that's not the gun, that was me. My big old bear paws hit the magazine release and dropped the magazine out of the gun. That's all on me. But like I said, this gun runs as most Glocks do. So all in all, I think this is a solid firearm. So this particular firearm is available for sale at the Bunker 2 gun shop, where a lot of their used firearms are available for sale. So if I were y'all and y'all were interested in purchasing this gun, y'all better get up there and get this damn thing and buy it. They got it at a very good price. Buy it before I do. Anyway, y'all, that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, definitely let me know by hitting that like and subscribe button, and tell me your opinions about 10mm in general, the Glock 10mm. Do you prefer the Glock 20? Do you prefer the Glock 40? Personally, I'm waiting for them to drop a Gen 5 version of this, because when they do, I'm definitely going to scoop that up. I prefer the ergonomics of the Gen 5, me personally, so that would be a better fit for me, honestly. But what do y'all think? Let me know down in the comments section. Let's get this discussion popping. And as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. This is your big homie, and I'm signing out, man. Peace.